Rick Barnes, Great Salt Lake Council. Scout Executive, almost retired. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my experience at Teton High Adventure Base this summer with my varsity scouts. I had 6 varsity scouts with me, and these boys had never been to this type of experience before, and so we picked out 3 different activities, and some of the boys, most of the boys had never done any of these things before. I had 2 boys that actually weren't part of my team, but their grandparents live in our neighborhood, and we brought them with us. I was a little bit worried that they wouldn't fit in, but I'll tell you what, during the week, these boys fit in perfectly to our team. So the first thing we did was pistol shooting. And I had one boy that said, "Oh, I've never done this before. In fact, I'm afraid of guns, and I don't really want to do it." Of course, we talked to him a little bit. We convinced him that this is something that he should try. And so, of course, we went there with a staff member, and he taught us the basics, and then we practiced, and then at the end we had a little bit of a challenge. And the one boy that said he didn't want to do it was actually the best shot and had a really great time. And so that was a really neat experience. So the next thing that we did is we went down the whitewater trip, and this same boy and a couple other boys, most of the boys had never been on the river before, and they were a little bit wary of it, and we got on the boat and started down the river, and when we got to the 2 big rapids, the guide always asks if there's somebody that wants to ride the bull, meaning that you actually sit on the front of the boat, the bow, you hang your feet outside and you ride the bull, and you put your hand in the air like you're riding a bull. And so one of these boys that sat in the middle, didn't want to paddle, didn't want to get wet, he wanted to ride the bull, so we put him up there. And of course they take pictures up on the rock, and to see the smile on his face, he got knocked back in the boat by the water, and by the end of the trip, again, it was one of those, wow, that was fun, can we do it again? And then we did Loco, and the really neat thing about that was the climbing, not the climbing wall, the wall. It's a 15-foot wall, and you have to get everybody to the top of the wall. So we took a few minutes, talked about how we were going to do it, got some of the little guys up ahead of time, and then how we were going to get the last guy up. And we got everybody to the top of the wall. It took a few minutes, of course. And when we got to the top, they wanted to take a picture of us, and so we're standing on top of the wall. We've got our helmets on, and it's like, yay. I mean, what a team building experience that we had together. The last thing that we did was the high cope course. And for someone that's afraid of heights, I can really explain that it's not something that you want to do or like to do. But I'm happy to say that all of the boys and the 2 leaders, including this one, did that. But again, some of the boys said, well, that looks kind of scary, and I'm not sure that I want to do that. But what we do is as they go up, we help each one of them. I mean, it's verbally that we're talking to them and walking them through these obstacles. And then at the end, there's a zip line that you go down. And I got to tell you, the thrill of watching each one of my boys come down that zip line, and then I did the whole thing myself. I'm afraid of heights, but what I learned, and some of the boys also did this very same thing, is instead of looking down and being afraid, you look out. And that's kind of like life. We talked about this. We had a reflection. If you look down and you think about all those things, it gets a little scary. But if you look out, when you look to the future, it's bearable. And then coming down at the end, doing that zip line, and having my whole team there at the bottom was an incredible experience. What a wonderful team building, leadership building experience, bonding experience that we had together, doing high adventure together as a varsity team.